Welcome.
Hi.
We have waited a while for you to get here. This is a real treat for everybody. Now, for goodness sake, let us have a... She gets a general idea. Let us have just a couple of words, all right? I gave the impression you started in New York. You didn't. You started somewhere else, didn't you?
Well, I was born in Detroit.
Then you went to New York.
Yes, I'm a famed high school dropout, so don't believe anything they tell you.
Tell me why you went from Detroit to New York to Paris. What did you do in Paris?
Well, when I came to New York originally, I was dancing with some dance companies, and I decided to go to Paris because a singer named Patrick Hernandez, he had this big hit called Born to Be Alive.
Yeah.
He offered me a tour with him as a background singer and a dancer, so I jumped on that boat and got into the music industry that way and started writing songs, so here I am.
When you went back to New York, you sang with a trillion bands. You quit and you went out on your own. Were you the least bit scared to do that?
Not really. I think I've always had a lot of confidence in myself.
We are a couple of weeks into the new year. What do you hope will happen, not only in 1984, but for the rest of your professional life? What are your dreams? What's left?
To rule the world.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Madonna.
How are you this afternoon?
I'm very well.
We've been seeing, actually, a couple of your videos here for a while. And people may not be aware that although you were born in Detroit, you're a New York resident now, but you wound up going to England to get your first big acceptance. Why do you think?
Well, actually, I went to Paris.
Oh.
And why did I go there? Is that you're going to ask?
I was going to ask why you thought you had to go to Europe first. And
I didn't think
why?
I had to. It's just that when I first came to New York, I was a dancer, and a French record label offered me a recording contract, and I had to go to Paris to do it. So I went there, and that's how I really got in the music business, but I didn't like what I was doing when I got there, so I left, and I never did a record there.
But you're real popular in England, aren't you?
Yeah, but that's just because my records have just done really well there ever since they're first released. So I have a really big following in England, but I actually started out in Paris.
Do you think that there's a difference between American audiences and ears and sensibilities and English, let's say?
Yeah.
What would that be?
Well, I think that England is a really depressed country, so they're a lot hungrier for different things, and music is really important to England. Really, I mean, I think basically, if you're not a musician or an athlete, there's really not much to do for the youth in England. Seriously. And music is so important, music and fashion for them. And there's a lot more opportunities for Americans, a lot of different ways to disperse your energy, so it's a completely different attitude.
Yeah. You like it over there?
Yeah.
Also, fashion is something you mentioned fashion, and that's a big part of what's happening in music now.
Yeah.
You're real influenced by fashion. Fashion is important to you. Do you have fashion influences? Let's say, I don't know, maybe Vivienne Westwood.
Yeah, well, she's one of my favorite designers, actually.
Is she really?
World's End. That's a great store in England.
Yeah.
Great clothing shop. Whenever I go to England, that's where I buy all my clothes.
Are you the designer of your look, your hairstyle, the clothing?
Oh, yeah. Do you think someone else could come up with this? It's all right, you don't have to answer.
Before we go here, you have this leather jacket can we get a shot of, if she holds up the jacket, can we get a shot? And I kind of like it. It's got a lot of graffiti on there, and I wanted to just sort of give America a look at this. Of course, I know Andy Warhol.
The front's better.
Okay.
Turn around.
And while we're giving America a look at this, maybe you could explain, you see it? What does boy toy mean to you?
Well, it's my tag name.
It's
what I write up on walls. What does it mean? What do you think it means?
Oh, you're good at that. Yeah, just turning those questions right around. Who could design the thing? Well, boy toy is your graffiti name. You spray it on the walls around New York.
Yeah, but it also has a kind of humorous meaning to it.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean.
2 videos now under your belt, and I must say that they're doing quite well.
Yeah, Borderline's doing really well.
A surprise at all to you?
Well, I knew the second video would do really well. I know it's really good. So I had faith in it already, but I'm glad that it is doing as well as it's doing.
Well, it was sort of surprising, and I'm glad it was a good surprise. What are the next video plans for you then?
Well,
Do you have
I'm
any at this
working on an album right now with Nile Rodgers, and I hope to release the first single from it the first week of June. And I'll do a video to that, yeah.
And how long have you been working on the album?
For the last almost 2 months. It's almost finished.
Wow. What's it been like working with Nile?
Really great. He's a genius, I have to say, yeah.
Did you contact him?
Yeah, actually, well, my record company did. But as soon as we met, we hit it off really well and thought it would be a great union. So.
And it seems to have been.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
How has he helped you out over other people that have produced you in the past?
We just have a really good chemistry, and he understands my musicality. He's a trained musician, and I'm not really, and I don't know musical terminology. He can just read my mind. So.
Do you think he really knows how to work with a vocalist per se then?
Yeah, well, he's very sensitive. I think he could work with anyone that's good.
And you're also working on a new record now with Nile Rodgers, aren't you?
Right, I just finished it.
Oh, it's completed?
Yeah, it's done.
Oh, great. When is it going to be out?
It'll be out in June, as soon as Borderline fizzles out. Oh, please. No, I'm really excited about it.
Wait, you don't want to say that you want your song to fizzle out on MTV, do you?
No, I just want to put something new out.
Okay.
You can't do that till the other stuff isn't interesting anymore. And I felt like I had something to share with a lot of other people who are aspiring recording artists if they had any questions about what they could look forward to or any advice I could give them, before, on getting a record contract. So I think I had a valid contribution to make.
Videos might have a limited audience in one sense, but on the other hand, you could be reaching a lot of people that would never be able to come and see you live. So I think that they're definitely an advantage.
I think
And kids only, I'm sorry, but kids today worship the television. So I think it's a great way to reach them.
I sort of resent the fact that a kid grows up, listening to the radio and listening to the great music, legacy of music that we have, and dreams about playing the guitar or playing the drums, and all of a sudden has to be an actor. To me, that makes absolutely no sense at all. If someone wants to be, that's great. But as far as I'm concerned, I always wanted to be a musician. And, to me, that's still my purpose.
Yeah, but listen, when you perform on stage, you're acting. I mean, that's a performance. So if someone puts a camera on you, what's the difference? You're acting right now.
My definition of new music is something that's, fresh and reflecting of, the times, the politics, the fashion, the energy, something new, something that's applicable to what's happening in the world today.
How do you think your music fits into new music?
Well, to start off with, a lot of people thought that I was a black artist before they saw my videos because a lot of my music is more R&B oriented, and I think that I'm a white artist doing R&B music, getting played on pop stations, and I think that is the kind of records I make is really changing people's ideas of, splitting up, categorizing music, and I think that's opening up ways for black and white artists as well. So that's something new. I just finished recording an album with Nile Rodgers, and I helped put it out in October, but they're still playing stuff off my last album, which I can't complain, but I'm really anxious to get the new stuff out. So you can expect a new release in October.
Have you started working on the videos for the new album?
Yes, I have a video that's already ready for the new single I'm putting out in October. There's a video which I shot in Venice a couple of weeks ago, and I'm really excited about that too.
Can you give us some more of the details? Who directed?
Mary Lambert directed it. She directed my Borderline video, and I worked with her again because I thought she was really great.
What's the title?
Like a Virgin.
Anything else?
No comment from the Peanut Gallery. I'm going to do another video for the second release after Like a Virgin, and so I'm thinking about that. I'm also getting together a tour. I plan to go on tour upon the release of my album in October, an American tour of major cities, and possible parts in movies, but I can't really talk about that, so.
As far as your band for the tour?
Yeah, who am I going to use on the band? A lot of different people. Some people that I've been working with through the years. I mean, I had a band before I got a record contract, so some of those musicians, and I'm still not finished auditioning people, so I'm not even sure myself. But whoever they are, they're going to be great. Well, now that I'm successful, I have a million more things to worry about. Before, I was just basically interested in my survival, like what I was going to eat and what I was going to wear when it got cold outside and where I was going to live. But now I have to worry about who's ripping me off, and is my accountant paying all my bills, and is my lawyer making all those deals for me, and, you know, boring and mundane things like that. Things I don't want to worry about. And I have to invest my money, or I'm going to be taxed, or, you know, and I have to find a place, and I have to do this, and I have to do that, and I have to pay everyone. And I have to hire people to make sure that everybody's doing all those things, and ugh. Well, the new album is a lot more grown up than the first album. It's a lot more well-rounded style-wise. I have 2 ballads on it, and I've never recorded a ballad before, and it's not, my first album was termed a dance record, you know, everything was up-tempo dance music, but this one is a lot of different kinds of sounds. There's some old stuff that sounds like old Motown, there's some really high energy, you know, stuff that maybe sounds more English, more techno, there's a lot of synthesizers, so I think it just shows my growth as a singer and a songwriter. I chose to work with Nile Rodgers because I think that he's a genius, and I wanted to work with a genius on my record. And I think that he embodies a lot of different styles that I think my music embodies. He's very close to the black sound, funk. I mean, the stuff he did with Chic and Sister Sledge and Diana Ross is phenomenal. But he's also made a lot of great pop records with David Bowie and Duran Duran, so, and In Excess, so I thought he'd be a great person for me to work with. And he's a great musician and arranger.
What made you come to New York?
I don't know. When I was 5 years old, I just woke up one day and I had this idea that I was going to come to New York. I just had to, and so I graduated, as soon as I graduated from high school, I came here. When I graduated, like early, and I just kind of ran away and came here as soon as I could.
When you came here, was there something that you were looking for, or something you were trying to achieve?
Fame and fortune. Yeah. When you're a dancer, you act with you perform with your body. And I think I had a lot of things to say in other ways besides movement. So that's when I got into the music business. And to me, film is just the ultimate, you know, that's the embodiment of it all. You can do all that, only it's captured forever on celluloid. The movie I'm working on is called Desperately Seeking Susan. It's directed by Susan Seidelman, who did a movie called Smithereens, and I play Susan. And Roseanne Arquette, Aidan Quinn, and Robert Joy are the, and Mark Blum are the other lead characters in the movie. And it takes place in New York. It's shot all in New York, and little bits and pieces of it are shot in New Jersey. And it's like a murder mystery comedy romance. It's kind of like old-fashioned screwball mystery, you know, like. And the character I play is sort of a combination between Judy Holliday and Carole Lombard, but you know, from a long time ago. So it's funny and light, and it's been a lot of fun so far, but a lot of hard work. It's a lot different than making records.
How do you feel about acting?
Well, acting is just it's just another kind of performing. It's an expression. It's being honest with your audience, stuff like that. So to me, it's just an extension of what I do already, making videos and performing on stage.
Do you find acting or singing more challenging?
Acting. Singing comes a lot more naturally to me. When you make a movie, you really have to rely on your concentration because there's people standing all around you with cameras and lights and all sorts of electrical equipment, and And it couldn't be further away from being like the real thing, and you have to ignore everything around you. Everything's shot out of sequence, so you really have to just pretend you're somewhere else and try to concentrate and, you know, and remember how you got to where you are right now. Because a lot of times you shoot stuff that's happened in the actual movie before you've done the stuff that happens to get you where you are right now. Does that make any sense? If, for instance, you shoot the end of the movie, and so you have to work up the emotions for that scene, but you haven't even shot all the stuff before that, so it's very confusing, and it's a lot more of a challenge to me. Also, it's new to me, so.
Have you learned anything from acting that you can apply to your musical career?
Sure. Yeah. Well, the thing that can carry over from acting to singing is just the performance aspect, losing your inhibitions and being really honest with your audience. You know, just and letting all sorts of emotions come through. I don't think that I'm using sex to sell myself. I think that I'm a very sexual person, and that comes through in my performing. And if that's what gets people to buy my records, then that's fine. But I don't think of it consciously, well, I'm going to be sexy to get people interested in me. It's the way I am. It's the way I've always been. Every once in a while I'll get a reaction from another performer who's a feminist, a singer. And if I do get anything from them, I think it's really, I think they're jealous and envious of me. And my reply to them is that that's the choice that I've made. I don't, you know, I'm not going to tell you what to do with your life, and you're not going to tell me what to do with mine. I enjoy this. I'm not, you know, this is my choice. And I'm bringing, I think I'm bringing happiness to people. So it's as simple as that. I think that the world sees images. I mean, you build an image for yourself, and the world ends up seeing only that aspect of you. Maybe eventually every person is multifaceted, and hopefully, you know, the longer your career goes on, the more you can get that out of you. But I couldn't begin to tell you what the world doesn't see in me right now. There's a million things. What I would like to ultimately achieve, I already told Dick Clark once on American Bandstand. So I'll repeat it again and annoy everyone who was annoyed before when I said it. I want to conquer the world. Okay?
So, my friend Molly flew in from Australia, and we're going to have a little chat. Right, Molly?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Coming from Australia and going into New York in a day's notice, or sort of coming on in a day as well, the first thing that strikes me is Madonna, the Virgin Tour, and the first words that come out of your mouth from that tape. So can you just try to remember them and say what you said then?
You mean the introduction
Yes.
of the film? But Molly, that'll give it away.
I went to New York. I had a dream. I wanted to be a big star. I didn't know anybody. I wanted to dance. I wanted to sing. I wanted to do all those things. I wanted to make people happy. I wanted to be famous. I wanted everybody to love me. I wanted to be a star. I worked really hard, and my dream came true.
Okay, the Madonna Virgin Tour. I mean, like, it's putting yourself out, not only on the road, but in front of a lot of people. The people loved it, and that was proven. Some of the critics hated it. They wanted to...
My tour?
They wanted to shoot you down, you know?
Oh, yeah, sure.
So how did you cope with that?
Well, I think overall I ignored them because I knew deep down in my heart that it was good, and that I was also always going to meet up, and I will in the future meet up with a certain amount of, you know, controversy, a certain amount of opposition to what I'm doing.
Okay, if you look at the video version, I mean the Virgin Tour video, it looks great, you know?
Yeah.
But it's not that easy to put that together, you know, and especially, I mean, for yourself. I mean, like, the dancers, the musicians, I mean, there was a backing group that hadn't been there before on your records. So, I mean, like, how did you do that?
How did I put the show together?
Yeah, how did the process of you putting a tour together?
Well, the main and most important thing was getting the band together, and I auditioned East Coast and West Coast musicians, and wherever the majority of the good musicians were, that's where I decided to set up, you know, like, shop. It just turned out that almost everybody I used in my tour I found in Los Angeles, so that's where I really put together the tour. I brought one guy out from New York, and it also ended up that that's where I found all the dancers, although I auditioned people from everywhere.
Okay, so you decide then to sort of put this sort of situation together.
Mm-hmm.
You put yourself through a strenuous thing. I mean, number one, you have to sing.
Right.
And number two, you put yourself through this immense dancing routine from number to number to number, you know?
Well, what I would do is I'd spend all afternoon working out all the choreography and the staging of the show with me and the dancers, and then I'd go at night and work with the musicians. And then when it got, and we rehearsed like this separate, me and the dancers and then me and the musicians for about a month. And then we spent about 3 or 4 weeks putting it all together on the soundstage, and then everybody came together, and I had a great choreographer to work with, so he sort of watched over the whole, you know, what it was like visually, and everybody started working together, but I had to take it in pieces.
When you start a show, you got to come on strong, or you're not going to hold them through the rest of the show. You got to have a great beginning and a great middle and the best ending so that they don't forget you when they leave. So I'd say that Dress You Up was a great way to start it, and Material Girl was the way I ended it, and sort of the high point in the middle was like something like Gambler.
They're all on the Virgin Tour performance.
Mm-hmm.
Which is your favourite?
My favorite song or my favorite?
Your favourite song and then your favourite performance.
Get Into the Groove. It sort of encapsulated everything I'd done from the beginning of my musical career to where I was standing on the stage. And it also meant a lot to me that the guy that I wrote it with and the guy that produced the record with me had been Stephen Bray was somebody that I'd been with since my childhood. So he sort of came through it all the way with me, and that meant a lot to me. And it was also in the first movie I ever did.
Madonna as a performance in herself, so far.
Yeah.
The best. Tell me what's the best as far as your own performance.
Like, what's the best performance I ever did?
Yeah. Was it the MTV thing, launching the Virgin thing where it shocked the entire audience?
No, that wasn't hard. The hardest thing I ever did, and any of all the entertaining that I ever did was Saturday Night Live.
The critics are really going to analyse with microscopes.
Oh yes, so what?
And with scalpels, you know, because you're doing it with your husband.
Yeah.
Tell us about this film.
I think they'd have their scalpels out whether I did it with Sean or not. Believe me, they would. They'd have their scalpels out whether I did it with Sean or not.
So can you tell us a little bit about the movie?
The name of the movie is Shanghai Surprise, and it's a romantic adventure that takes place in Shanghai in 1938. And I play a missionary, and Sean plays a con artist who drinks a lot.
Okay, making this movie with the two of you, and seeing you over a day, where I see the strength that it's Madonna, you know, and then seeing you with Sean, of where he can really phase you. I mean, your love, you can see it, you know.
What are you talking about?
Well, I think that...
This is personal stuff, right?
Yeah, well, it sort of is, you know, that where another person can actually put Madonna second.
In other words, I actually care about what somebody else thinks about me. Well, yeah, that's what happens when you're in love with somebody. You give up a certain part of yourself. You have to become selfless in a way, and that's the trade-off. Who taught me how to play music, you know, guitar, and their band was looking for a drummer. So I said, hey, I'll play drums. I'll play drums, and he said, you don't know how to play drums. And I said, you want to make a bet? He went off to work every day because he had like a 9-to-5 job, and then we would rehearse at night, or he would rehearse with his band, and I would practice the drums for like hours and hours. Like he didn't know I was doing it. So I just kept practicing and practicing, and then one day I said, can I just play for a rehearsal, you know, just give me a chance and everything, and so they let me, and then they were really impressed because I was good.
Okay, from there?
So then I'm playing drums, and we're getting gigs in certain downtown clubs like CBGB's and the Mud Club and Max's Kansas City and everything. And I'm starting to write music for the band too, like some songs, but they already had 2 singers in the band, so they would never let me get up and sing a song because what's the point? So one day I finally convinced them, meanwhile, you know, I'm playing drums, I'm also practicing guitar. I said, can I just do one song? I'll just play guitar and sing one song, please, 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 and they finally said okay. So then I got up to sing one song, and the other guy went back to play the drums, and like I got a standing ovation. That one moment in the spotlight in front of the band singing was like a really big high.
You're going in and doing demos, and you're approaching record companies, and
right.
So there's hundreds of others.
Okay, so I befriended one DJ in particular, and he worked at a club called Danceteria, which was one of my favorite clubs. And we talked a lot about music, and I knew a lot about singers and a lot about different groups and stuff like that. And he said, how come you know so much about this? And I said, well, I'm really interested in music. And he said, well, in what way? And I said, I'm a singer. He said, no kidding. And I said, yeah, and I just happened to have this tape right here. I mean, I was carrying this tape around with me everywhere, to every club, waiting for the moment to pop it on somebody. So I said, would you play it? I said, would you play it? And he said, well, I can't play it in the middle of the night. I mean, I haven't heard it. What if it's terrible? What if everybody stops dancing? And I said, all right, well, you listen to it, take it home with you tonight and listen to it, and I'll come back here tomorrow, and if you like it, then you play it again. So that was a Friday night, and he went home, and then Saturday night I met him again and came back before the club opened, and he said he really loved it. So he played it. He played 2 songs. One of them was Everybody.
Of MTV being a baby and nurturing into something that it is now.
Right.
So your first film clip?
Well, I had a couple of singles out before anybody really knew who I was because I didn't have a video. And the first video I ever did was to Borderline, which was by then my like 3rd or 4th single. So my album was doing fairly well without anybody being really aware of what my image was at all. And so I did my first video to Borderline, and then suddenly I had that crossover that I had been waiting for so long, because people could see who I was, they could put a face together with a song.
But it was all a new experience for a lot of people, you know. I mean, like, America was not here to video like, say, even Australia or England was, you know?
That's true, but I was really excited about it because to me it was like making little movies, and I've always been excited about that. So it was like confining it to the 3 minutes of the length of a song.
For people who have the same inspirations, you know?
Yes.
What advice would you give anyone coming from a family?
To believe in your dreams, to do whatever. If you have something that you say you want to do, then it's your responsibility to make yourself happy and to be true to yourself, and that you can do it.
The glasses on. Can you just put them on?
Of course.
And I read in Interview magazine that one of your favourite actresses is Judy Halliday.
Yes.
You look like Judy Halliday with the glasses on.
Well, thank you.
Why did you like Judy Halliday?
Because she's funny.
They said she was dumb.
She's not dumb.
She won an Academy Award.
She was clever enough to make people think that she was when she wasn't, when she was actually smarter than everyone. That's pretty good, huh?
Have you been like that?
Clever?
Have you been clever to the point that other people may have underestimated your talent?
Oh, yeah, but that's really fun because that way, if everyone underestimates you, you keep giving them little surprises.
What's next? The album?
Next, I'm going to have a drink.
No. I mean next year.
Next year, I'm going to do the movie, Shanghai Surprise, and then the album's going to come out in the spring. I did a soundtrack for a movie that Sean just finished in Tennessee that's going to be out in the spring. I did that, you know, the title track from that. It's called Live to Tell, and then I have my album coming out, and then the movie that I'm doing in January will come out August. They plan an August release, but who knows?
For someone to look at you now and dressed like that, to the person that's on the Virgin tour clip, is it the same person?
What do you think? there are certain things you have to accept in this business that, you know, you become a larger-than-life figure and people want to know about you, and you have to expect a certain amount of an invasion, people walking up to you in the streets, doing interviews, people wanting to know you, touch you, that you just have to expect a certain amount of it, but then, you know, you have to draw the line.
Where do you draw the line?
I draw the line when I get to my house. And I go up my driveway, that's where the line is, you know. Wherever I live, you know, that should be sacred. And my own private life and, you know, my romantic life, that's where I draw the line.
Do your fans know that?
What?
Do they understand that there's a line at all?
I don't think that it occurs to them to understand. I mean, if you really, really like someone or idolize someone, or you do anything to find out about them. And, I mean, it depends. Certain people go to a lot of extremes. I know people hang out at the bottom of our driveway a lot and constantly ring our doorbell, and they want to see us. They think that we're going to invite them up for a cup of tea or something, you know.
Is it ever frightening?
Frightening? Yeah, sometimes, when they're relentless and they never leave you alone.
You are so exposed. I mean, look at the picture on your True Blue album, provocative.
Jugular vein.
The seductress in your videos. I mean, you do the product, and I mean, it is a product. That's the Madonna that we see on here is so inviting. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's for you, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'm not really afraid of that. It's meant to be provocative, you know, but it's not only meant to be provocative in a sexual way, also thinking in other ways, you know. I don't think about that aspect, you know. I like to provoke people, but I don't think about the danger of it. And if there is a dangerous element, that's exciting to me.
This rare interview, Madonna talks honestly about herself, her first boyfriend, her pop idols, and about drugs. But first, she spoke about the young Madonna and her family's influence.
The thing is, if my father hadn't been strict, I wouldn't be who I am today. And I think that his strictness taught me a certain amount of discipline that has helped me in my life and in my career, and also made me work harder for things, whether that's acceptance or the privilege to do something. Nickname in my family was the Mouth. When you're from a big family, everybody's really competitive with each other. So, aside from just screaming really loud and doing things that got me attention, like you know, we would all get in various kinds of trouble to get my father's attention, and then be punished accordingly. But I think I was really competitive in school with my grades and stuff. My father used to give us rewards if we got A's, like all A's on our report cards, and so it was my goal to get the best report cards all the time. It wasn't so much that I was interested in learning, it was more that I was interested in getting the best grades and, you know, getting the most. My father gave us 25 cents for every A that we got. So I wanted to earn the most amount of money. I wanted to be the envy of my brothers and sisters. Gee, I think 14 or 15, I fell in love with a boy named Russell. He was the only boy who would dance with me at school because I was really wild at the high school dances. And I danced completely insanely, and all the guys were afraid to ask me to dance with them because I basically ignored them anyways. So, but Russell was a wild dancer, and he was a couple years older, so he was more sophisticated. And so he was the one who had the courage, really. So he won my heart because he wasn't afraid of me. I remember what I saw first, Elton John or David Bowie, but I was punished for seeing both of them because Cobo Arena was a really dangerous part of downtown Detroit, and it really wasn't a place for young girls to be going unescorted, which we all were. So I think I lied to my father and said I was spending the night at my girlfriend's, and then I went off to the concerts, and both times my father called
and found that I wasn't there and found out that I'd gone to the concert. And I think I got grounded or something, and I had to like one summer I wanted to go away to camp or something, and I wasn't allowed to because I went to see David Bowie. But they were both, it was worth it. I guess I don't take criticism very well, but it's getting better. And if I do something and everybody, and there's 100 people in the room and 99 people say they liked it, I only remember the one person who didn't like it. Well, the thing is, I wouldn't even be blonde now, except that I'm doing Dick Tracy, and I had to dye my hair blonde, but I begged Warren Beatty to let me have dark hair because it took me so long to grow my hair out, and I really wanted to have dark hair. I felt like I was, you know, along with the album, which was much more personal and stuff, I felt kind of great having my own hair color for the first time in years. There was something exotic to me about having dark hair versus blonde hair, and then I had to change it, so it was a little bit, I had a bit of an identity crisis because that's the avenue I was going down, and then all of a sudden I had to change it. So I've learned that if you surround yourself with great writers and great actors and a great director and a great costume or whatever, that it's pretty hard to go wrong. And in the past, I've been in a really big hurry to make movies, you know what I mean, and I haven't kind of taken the time to make sure that all of those elements were in line and good. And now, if Warren's taught me anything, it's that, and that is to be patient, and it's a waste of time to do something mediocre. That unless you absolutely believe in it 100% in every aspect, that you shouldn't waste your time. I don't take drugs myself. I've experimented, but they just don't do anything for me. My imagination and my energy level is overdeveloped as far as I'm concerned. I don't want to deaden it, and I don't want to make it something different. I don't want to alter my state of mind, but I know that lots of people are very creative if they're smoking grass or have been, or dropping acid or something. I don't understand that because it doesn't work for me. Obviously, I'm not condoning, someone to take drugs, I've watched a lot of people kill themselves taking drugs, whether it's heroin or coke, ruin their careers, their lives, their families, their relationships. I think ultimately drugs destroy you. They take away your natural ability to be creative or love yourself, deal with people, communicate, whatever. And it seems maybe in the beginning that they help that they aid it, that they enhance it, but ultimately they destroy it. Wow. So I think it's better just to not take drugs.
I'm going to watch the film very closely.
Okay, well, this morning David Foster talks to her about working with superstar Warren Beatty during the making of this summer's blockbuster, Dick Tracy.
Let's make sure you know where it is.
He's a real artist, and he's a real perfectionist, and he's in charge of everything that he does, from the way the scenery looks, to the way the costumes are, to the way the scene is lit, to the writing of the script. And it was a real inspiration, a real learning experience to work with someone like that, because I like to be in charge of everything that I do too. So I felt that I sort of got to be an apprentice with a master in a way, I mean, I think I'll probably work a little faster than him once I get it down right, but it was a great experience. And he's a great diplomat with people in working situations, and he knows how to be graceful under pressure, which is something that I'm starting to learn, but I could, use more. I could get better at that. But it was good studying him, good learning from him in every respect.
Did you fight with him? I mean, there's you, the perfectionist, there's him, the perfectionist.
We rarely had any fights, no. I think we had one fight on the set. But it was because I was shooting a video.
So there he was, telling you that you shouldn't be doing this, giving you an earful.
He was upset because I wasn't concentrating on one thing, which is, what I should have done. But like I said, I also have a music career, so.
Can anybody else get away with telling you how to behave, how to run your life?
He wasn't telling me how to behave. He was giving me, a peace of mind. I mean, he was telling me how he felt about what I was doing, and
I would say that most people I work with are that I, have a long-established relationship. Tell me what they feel about what I'm doing.
Can I ask you this one about you and Warren Beatty? How are you getting on?
Can you ask me first? You let me answer. If you can ask me, then you can ask the question.
Okay.
No, can't ask me.
Will you answer the second one?
How are we getting on? We're getting on just famously. Great. I mean, we're really good friends. And we've both been working really hard on a project for a long time, and I think we're both really proud of it. And I think we're getting along really well, considering. I mean, this is a tough business to get along with anyone well in. So, yes. It takes a really long time to set up shots and light things, and so you just end up spending so much time sitting and waiting for that 1 second that's going to be on, that you're going to shoot, that's going to get onto the film that day. And it's very disjointed, and it doesn't follow chronological order, and in a way it's really not enervating. What's the opposite of enervating?
Stultifying.
Yeah, it just drains you. To me, that's more exhausting than doing my show every night. To sit and wait and wait and wait and be ready in your costume and ready in your feelings and your emotions and ready to do the scene and just have to wait hours and hours and hours in some stupid trailer,
So what does that mean about you in the future? Are we going to see you in more films? I mean, Desperately Seeking Susan. And then the other films after that, and now this one. I mean, it could mean that his movies are going to take more of your time?
Well, just because I don't like it doesn't mean I don't want to do it. As I said, I'm not here to enjoy myself. But I do, putting that aside, the waiting around, I love the medium of film. So, and I do hope to be able to make more of them. Maybe direct. I don't know.
Maybe direct? Have you got any ideas?
But I'm not telling you.
Evita?
I'm not directing that.
But that's the role that you would like to do next, am I right?
Well, that's the role that they're planning on me doing next, but they have to have a script that's in good shape in the fall, which is when they want to do it. So if it is, I will.
And what about the character of Perón? What do you think?
Me as Evita Perón, I think that I'm the only one that can do it.
You have turned out an incredible amount of material in the last 7-8 years. Was it 16 consecutive top 5 hits? More than the Beatles ever had over here?
Oh, I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah. I mean, that is something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Was there anybody from that period, sort of 7, 8, 9 years ago, that you particularly looked at and said...
7 or 8 years ago?
Yeah.
Well,
maybe even a bit further back.
Not women. I'd have to say, in the very, very beginning, when I was just starting to write music and stuff, I was inspired by Debbie Harry, because she was she seemed very in charge of what she was doing, and she also had a sort of wittiness about her and street smarts, and I liked her. She was a role model.
Watching some of your show and seeing the amount of costume changes and the choreography in it and the theatre, I was reminded of some of Bowie's stuff maybe 10 years ago.
Well, he was definitely an inspiration. That's why I say no women. The reason, actually, David Bowie was the first concert I ever saw when I was in high school. He came to Detroit, and I was grounded for the whole summer for going, because my father wouldn't let me go to this place. So I snuck out of the house and I went, and I was just enthralled. I mean, it was during, I think it was the 1984 tour that he did and he had all those mime artists and stuff. It was just so incredible, so theatrical, you know what I mean? And
what is he?
And he constantly changed, and he constantly came up. He was more like an actor, and he kept coming up with new ideas and new images and new feelings and new thoughts, and to sort of get everybody else stirred up.
Does it ever concern you that the show is so overtly sexual when there's maybe some pre-teens and young teenagers in the audience?
No. No. Because I think if they're pre-teens, they're not going to understand it. I mean, I think they're not any more overtly sexual than the Betty Boop cartoons that I watched as a child, I didn't understand at the time. Now I watch them and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I missed that, you know. But there's so many other elements in the show that I'm not worried. No. And, you know, I mean, people know what my image is out in the public. If, you know, parents shouldn't bring their children if they don't want them to see.
Maybe they sneak out, like you did, and go and see David Bowie.
Well, power to them.
Eh?
Yeah. I mean, David Bowie didn't have a bad effect on me. So.
And what sort of message do you think they're getting from you? That is good.
To be in control of your life,
Yeah.
to be in charge, to express yourself.
There must be times when you want to just say, right, I need 2-3 weeks off.
Yeah.
Stop everything.
I'd like to do that, but I can't. Because I got all these people and we have a schedule and the show must go on.
Well, the show is incredibly energetic. As you say, you don't get much chance to relax on it. Is it the most difficult one you've done?
Yeah, it is.
And what makes it so hard?
There are 4 different segments of the show, and I sort of change character in each one, and I have to stay in character for each one and never really come out of character. And I have to stay very focused, very concentrated. There's a lot of movement. There's just no chance to stop. So that's why it's difficult.
Is this what you've wanted to do for a number of years and you felt it took this metamorphosis to do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was a period of growing up, was it?
Yeah. And just the experience of being on stage and going on tours before and knowing what I can and can't do. And I guess I finally got the nerve and the artistic inspiration to do what I'm doing now.
Knowing what you can and cannot do, we see what you can do in this show. But what have you learnt that you cannot do? Or is there no limit yet?
Rest. While I'm on tour.
You can't put your feet up?
No. No, I sort of have to be superhuman for 4 months.
We work out 2.5 hours a day. Then I'm told you have an 1.5 hour sound check. Then you have the show. And then you sometimes go on dancing afterwards.
No, I don't do that. Who told you that?
Well, I've read it. I mean, maybe I'm
Well, that's a
wrong.
damn lie. If I go out dancing, then I can't perform the next day. I'd never go out unless I have a day off the next day and there's a specific party that someone throws for me. Everyone else goes out. I go to my room. It's really boring.
Well, how much of what we've read in the last 6-7 years has been lies and damn lies?
I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. So it doesn't bother me. It's just so out of control in London. It's hysterical to me. It's funny. And they'll say that I tried to run over somebody in my limousine, and there will be, like, hysterically outrageous stories every day in the newspapers. And, you know, it's just a joke. I'm so used to it now, but it's not peaceful, and it's not fun, and it's too bad because the first time I went to London, I had a fabulous time because I was able to really walk around the city and see the sights and go to all the museums and stuff like that, and go to the ICA, which I love to go to, and go out to the countryside, but I never really get left alone, so I can't do that. I'll come back when I'm an old woman and no one's interested in me.
If you know that you're going to go there and you're going to get that sort of reception, how does it make you feel?
It makes me feel like I have to take the good with the bad. I mean, I just accept it. That's too bad, but that's just the way it is. I know I have a lot of fans in London. That's why I go there. So I know that there are a lot of people who do respect my privacy and just want to see me perform, and that's all they expect from me.
Do you think some people look at you now and think, well, maybe maybe that's why she's so wild? Are you wild?
I don't know. Am I wild?
I've only met you for the first time tonight.
Well, what would you say, knowing what you do know?
Knowing what I know, having seen you on film, I would say yes, you are. But talking to other people, I know that you like to read books.
Wild people read books.
No, but you actually like to sort of sit down and take things in quietly.
Yeah.
You're not quite the demon that you are on stage, off stage.
Right. Well, I have a lot of sides. But I know that I wouldn't be the way that I am right now if I didn't have the upbringing that I had. I wouldn't have rebelled as much as I did. I wouldn't have any reason to. So, I am a product of my upbringing. The first time I was on tour and I came back, it was like, okay, I'm showing everybody I am somebody I'm going to be. And so, you know, here I am. And I was basically sticking my tongue out at everybody. The second time I came, it was a stadium tour, and I think I was very kind of removed in a way from my family and my friends and my home and my roots and my past.
I'm only here because there isn't a Knicks game. Don't get excited.
Oh, come on. Let's go kiss the guy in the audience. Why don't you go kiss the guy in the
Why are you
audience?
so obsessed with my sex life?
As we all know, I have none of my own.
Well,
Go kiss the guy in the audience. It would knock him out. Look at that guy. Just like on the forehead. Just on the forehead.
I can't. He's not tall enough.
I like that. She said, I can't. A lot of people would cave into the pressure and say, oh, all right. They'd go out and kiss him and get it over with.
Yeah, well, I've never succumbed to peer pressure.
Good for you. That's what we love about you, Madonna.
Yes.
What brings
Incidentally, you are a sick... I don't know why I get so much...
You realize this is being broadcast, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, you can only be talking like that.
What?
I say, oh, never mind. What brings
Wait a minute, aren't you going to smell them? I gave them to you for a reason.
Let's see what I'm doing at my house right now.
No.
I'll take care of that later. It's
I
a
gave
lovely...
him... Come on. I gave him my underpants and he won't... That's not where they go.
No, no, believe me, that's
Come on,
where
you
the
won't
underwear
build-
goes. That's where... See? Look. Here's where I keep my socks. Here's where I keep my panties. That's where they go.
No, that's where you keep my panties.
Okay. All right, so what are you doing in New York City? Let me ask you a question. You buying an NBA team? You buying the Bulls? You buying the Miami Heat? You buying what?
No.
How come? Is that just a rumor? Is that an
Yes.
untrue rumor? But you like basketball.
Isn't that an oxymoron, an untrue rumor?
No, not necessarily.
Not
Not necessarily. Some rumors are
Jumbo
true.
shrimp,
Yeah, jumbo shrimp, yes. Oxymoron, I mean...
Untrue rumor.
No,
That's
some
like
rumors are true.
funny David Letterman.
Sir, you're the luckiest man in the house. But you like basketball a great deal. Where is your interest in basketball?
That microphone is really long. Speaking of the NBA. I'm sorry. I always go there, and really, I don't care. I mean...
So now let's talk about your interest in the NBA. You go to a lot of games. You were friends with Charles Barkley.
I wouldn't go that far.
You weren't friends with Charles Barkley?
I don't think he understands the meaning of friendship.
Oh, really? He seems like he might be a hothead, that guy.
Yeah.
Did you know him at all? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it hurt when you had that thing put in your nose?
I thought you were going to ask me if it hurt something else, but I thought you were going to continue the Charles Barkley line of questioning.
Oh, man, this is... What a revelation.
And the answer
lovely
is,
young woman.
yes.
No, but you have like
Yes,
a
it
nose
hurt.
ring there. Now, what
Yes,
happens when
both
you
questions,
when you
yes.
take that out? Will you ever take that?
What happens when you take it out?
Yeah.
Both questions?
Oh, come on, come on! What am I speaking Chinese here? Now stop it!
Listen, all you do is talk about my sex life on your show, so now you don't want to talk about my sex life when I'm on your show.
No, what do you mean? Do you mean because we refer to you periodically? We make jokes?
Periodically?
Yeah.
You can't get through a show without talking about me or thinking about me.
But do you mind that? Is that a problem for you?
It's never a problem.
Yeah. All right, I tell you what, let's do. Let's do a commercial. You want to do a commercial?
No.
Okay, we'll do a commercial
I don't think we should ever cut to a commercial.
No,
Let's just keep talking and film every second of it.
Oh yeah, because if the rest of it is as fascinating as the first part of it, then we've got something there. That's money in the bank there.
Wait. Before we cut to a commercial, I just want to know, is that a rug?
You talking about my hair? All right, what is that, a swim cap? What are you wearing? Come on, let's go. Here we go. Come on. No. I got a bad neck. I can't. There we go. Sit down. Just have a seat.
Don't make me act a fool, Dave. All right? Don't make me. Do you want to touch my dress?
Oh, yeah, I would like to press those. Oh, very nice. How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the program. Madonna is here. Madonna and I are just sitting around smoking cigars, swapping recipes.
Yeah.
Also, counting crows and the world champion grocery bagger. Did you have jobs like that when you were a kid? Did you work in grocery stores, bagging groceries, any of that?
No.
Have you ever been in a grocery store?
You really, yeah.
Yeah, good.
You know, you've really changed since the last time I was on the show.
Well, we haven't seen you since like 6 years, 7 years or so.
You used to be really kind of, like, cool.
I know. There is no bigger dweeb than me.
Money's made you soft.
Really? You think so?
Yeah.
In what sense?
Because you just kiss up to everybody on your show now. You do, man. You're always kissing up to, like, I see all these, like, you know, movie stars coming here, and you're just all gaga. You used to give people a hard time.
Yeah. I can suspend that behavior tonight if you like.
I believe you have already.
Oh, I know. Now we're just kidding around. Explain to folks. We're just kidding around.
Don't treat me special, okay?
Sure.
I wouldn't know what to do
But
with
what
it.
specifically are you getting at? What is driving you nuts here? What's troubling you?
About you or life in general?
Well, let's start with life in general.
No, let's just get back to you.
Okay, fine. First of all, you're not irritated at all. You're not irritated at all. I know
You're
this is
not
a little
irritating me.
Okay, good.
Are you trying to?
No, I'm not trying to irritate you.
Actually, you do irritate me sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Well, you kind of irritate me too.
Really?
You see, we have so much in common.
I know. Why are you always... I brought something to, like, make a point.
All right, okay, good.
You are always me on the show. You are always me on the show. You are always with me on the show. Where is that thing?
See what you're doing? See? Do you see what you're doing? Now there. You see?
What?
A nice cut. Where are you folks from? Yeah, Appleton, Wisconsin. Look, they drove all the way. They came in an Avis car and
Will
they
you
wanted
shut
to
up,
see.
please? Let's get to the tape. I brought a tape to prove that he's obsessed with me.
All right, so you think that we refer to you far too much on the show?
Yeah.
All right, roll the tape, Hal. Let's see what she's talking about here. As luck would have it, I look up and there's Madonna.
There she was.
Riding her bicycle. Hal, roll my home videotape of Madonna. Watch this. This is very impressive. Look, there she is. Okay, stop it. All right.
What's that all about?
But now, can you do that? Don't you have a problem with chafing when you're out there like that?
My ass looks a lot better than that.
Are you enjoying that smoke there?
It's just the right size.
What do you, now when you leave here tonight, what are you going to do? You're going to go out? You're going to go...
Me, Dave.
Oh, jeez. You can't...
Speak the truth and shame the devil, baby.
No, you can't be coming on here. This is American television. You can't be talking like that. Now we're going to have to...
Why?
Well, because people don't want that in their own homes.
The room we were ushered into was filled with wreathing, bare-chested male dancers, all gyrating wildly to some booming dance pop track on a stereo. In the middle of all this, up on a coffee table, stood Madonna herself, wearing boxer shorts and a black bra, and flailing away with equal abandon. Well, at least we knew we were in the right place. So we went into another room, set up all our cameras, and about an hour later, Madonna, having apparently exhausted all of her dancing companions, appeared in our doorway, wearing a relatively demure bathrobe. She took a seat on a couch, ordered a cup of tea, and off we went.
Just tell people I just woke up.
Yeah.
We had breakfast with Madonna. I'm having my morning tea. I feel so rested.
We started out talking about religion. Madonna was raised Catholic, and Catholic themes have been woven through much of her work. Most recently, the video for Like a Prayer, which so upset her former tour sponsor, Pepsi Cola, and the actual liturgical touch of Act of Contrition on the Like a Prayer album. Given all of this, and the outlines of Madonna's fairly well-known social life, we were wondering, does Madonna still consider herself a Catholic?
Do you still think of yourself as a Catholic?
Sort of. A fallen Catholic. Yeah.
Did you get any like hate mail or anything for doing Act of Contrition? Or, well, not hate mail, but I mean, did you get...
If I did, no one gave it to me.
Did your aunt like call you up or anything like that?
No. No, my relatives never call me up and say they didn't like something. I suppose if they don't like it, they just gave it to themselves.
But you don't go to church or anything anymore?
No. I'm not a practicing Catholic. But once you're a Catholic,
You're always a Catholic, right?
As you know, Kurt.
Actually, that's true, but yeah. Okay. I wanted to ask you about Oh Father, which I think is like the most amazing video. Has your dad seen this? I mean, did he have any response to all this?
Well, to tell you the truth, I don't know if he's seen it. I'm kind of afraid to call him up and ask him.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, is there are there character aspects to it? It's not like your life line for line, or
No, it's not. But it's a lot of stuff in the story is drawn from my life. I mean, it's a combination of my father and other men that I've known. So.
Okay. And you haven't talked to him since about this?
I've talked to him all the time, but I mean, it's sort of unspoken, and we don't really. My father doesn't call me up and say, "Hey, I just saw your video on MTV." I mean, he never does that. He just kind of tries to treat me like all my brothers and sisters. And
that might be difficult, I would imagine.
Well, he does it.
Have you heard from any other people that crop up on the album? I mean, you're talking about a lot of stuff in your life, and people say, I saw myself in that song.
I mean, yes, I hear. I mean, people I don't really know say I could really relate to them. No one really close to me.
Do you find that around the world? I mean, if you're in Japan, do you have kids coming up saying, well, it would be hard to understand, I suppose.
Not in Japan, huh? No one's really spoken to me in Japan. They just stare a lot.
It's a lonely life, that's awful. The greatest advertising hoo-ha of all time was your Pepsi deal. This was fantastic. You sign this deal, you do your video, you do their little thing, everything's done, you get this tour support, I suppose, and then the video comes out and they go nuts. I mean, what was that all about? Did they just lose their minds or what?
Well, I think that they were afraid of the controversy that the video was going to cause.
How did they put it to you? I mean, did they say, well, we don't like black guys doing this and with white girls, or was there anything like that? Or
no, they would never be so honest. They just said they didn't like it. And a couple of people were threatening to boycott the bottling companies in the South.
Yeah, and Wildman, I mean, you know, really talking about.
Well, I think they were really afraid that this whole thing was going to, like, blow up, and they didn't want to do anything to harm Pepsi, which is a sort of all-American symbol.
Yeah. Were you surprised by this? Or was
I was. Because the video is, I mean, there's a fable in the video, and it's about, you know, standing up for somebody and telling the truth, and I was shocked that they couldn't see that. But
does it make you wonder about future corporate involvements at all?
Does it make me wonder?
Does it make you
I
wonder?
don't spend too much time thinking about it.
Yeah. But I mean, it comes up, right?
Yeah, sure.
Did this all wind up?
Well, I think people think twice before they ask me to endorse their product. I mean, what they see is what they get.
They should have known going in.
They should have. I told them about the video.
How did you describe it? Did you say, it's me and this guy, and we're...
I told them what we did.
Yeah.
I told them everything.
Do you have this show really sums up, I mean, the Like a Prayer album in a way. You're doing stuff, America's in a very regressive phase, and it's very sort of black and white, it's anti-gay. We've really become, going back to the 50s, and the stuff you're doing,
yeah.
I mean, you get bad messages from people out there. Do you get any
Well, I just started, I mean...
But I mean, the record has been out. I mean, the songs on the record are like that. Do the videos convey that kind of...
I know the moral majority is up in arms against me, but...
Congratulations.
The people, yes, consider it an achievement. But, I think that I'm offending, certain groups, but I mean, I think that people who really understand what I'm doing are offended by it. Because it's pro-life,
yeah.
you know. It's pro, equality, it's pro-humanity.
I mean, do you despair?
And that's not really the mood America's in right now.
Well, what do you think that is? I mean, how did people come out of the 60s?
It's fear of AIDS. I mean, it's just this, it's like turned everybody into these, like, 50s monsters, you know.
Right.
What? No, that's my opinion. That's why everything's changing.
What do you think AIDS has just allowed, like, the right wing to come in and say, well, see, that's what it leads to?
Yes, it has. Yeah. It has, but see, then the people who don't really know that are sort of following onto it and saying, oh, yeah, that's why. You know what I mean? It's a small group of people who are leading people in that direction.
Yeah. Is it hard for you to try and convey these ideas in the stage show and still have, like, Gautier costumes and stuff and be entertaining?
Well, I'm not interested in hitting people over the head. I think that, I'm not militant anything, and I don't want to be pedantic. You know, to me, it's more interesting if you interject humor in all the messages. That way, people get what you're saying, but they sort of get it. Laughing, you know. There's irony in everything that I do, so, in the show.
So you're saying, well, always leave them laughing, kind of thing?
Well, I just think it's better to, to have humor, that's all.
Yeah.
A sense of humor. And not take yourself too seriously.
We'd run into Madonna's brother, Chris Ciccone, backstage at that show. Chris did some of the stage designs for this tour, but the main reason he was out on the road with his sister this time around, he told us, was, as he put it, who knows if she'll ever tour again? To which Madonna's response was as follows.
That's what he said he's out here for?
Well, he didn't really put it quite that way, but he led me to believe that, maybe you would be...
I certainly wouldn't tour in this capacity. This one really wore me out.
Why so? Was it the rain? Was it the...
No, not this show, this tour. Yeah. I'm putting it together because I really put a lot of myself into it. I think it's a real personal statement, and it's much more theatrical than anything I've ever done. And I think that it is much more of a theater piece.
No.
And in that respect, I had to pay a lot more attention to detail with set and costume and lighting and stuff, and it just took a lot out of me.
Does everyone get that sort of thing, do you think, around the world? You're going to be going around the world. Do you understand the concept of theater piece? The Japanese understand the way Americans do or the French do?
I don't know if they're going to look at it and say, oh, this is like theater, but they're certainly going to be affected the way I think theater affects you, in that there's a kind of catharsis, like from beginning to end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a piece where we don't have to stop, at the end of every number and like people applaud. We could really do the show without audience interaction, which a lot of concerts rely on. So.
Yeah. Were you worried tonight?
Except if it's raining, then I have to sort of ad-lib.
You were worried tonight, like Friday the 13th, that the rain is pouring down.
I
dangerous up there or what?
It was extremely dangerous, yeah.
Really, somebody could have fallen off and died or broken their leg.
Well, I have a dancer who's injured right now. She twisted her ankle in a rehearsal, so I felt like a protective mother through the whole show, watching all the dancers and singers. I wasn't really paying attention to the audience as much as I'd like to, because I just wanted everyone to get through the show and not get hurt.
Yeah. You've become a real dancer. I don't mean to say that you weren't before, but you've really been working at that. It's obvious on this tour that.
Well, I'm working it in the show.
You've really got the stuff,
Thank you. But I have been working on it, yes.
I mean, do you feel that too, that you really...
But it helps. I mean, I hired a lot of dancers who were very helpful and collaborative in the choreography. And I mean, everybody's different in the show, and I think everybody said, okay, now we're going to do this, and so whoever was good with that particular style of dancing worked with everyone else to get it right.
Yeah. You have a dance director, but do you get down with these people and say, well, I want to convey this? I mean, is it a matter of saying, I want to convey stuff, or you actually show them steps? Or?
Well, no, my contribution was, this is how I want to present this song. And we put the songs together so that there was an arc, an emotional arc in the show. It starts off this way, it ends this way. And I basically thought of sort of vignettes for every song and how this is what I want to do in this song. And I would talk to Vince about the costumes and the feel that I wanted, and then he would fool around with it for a while. And then based on what song we were doing, he would pull a dancer or two who he thought were good at this kind of stuff, and they would collaborate together and come up with it. And then I'd come in and say, I like this, I don't like that.
Think you're inventing any new dance steps here? Will we be seeing this stuff on the streets anytime soon?
Well, I think that a lot of people haven't seen voguing, and I think that should make an impression on people, and I think it'd be great if everybody starts doing it. I think it's great.
I mean, voguing was going to be a big thing.
It was, but it didn't make it, so maybe it will have another chance.
Why do you think it didn't?
Because they didn't have a spokesperson like me.
And why are you promoting it then?
Because I love it.
What's so appealing about it? We're trying to get behind voguing.
Well, you know what? I love this.
Also, you know.
I think it has a lot of humor to it too. I mean, it's just so sort of arrogant and there and presentational. You know what I mean? Self-conscious in a way, and I think it's hilarious. I really do.
Why do you come to Japan to start tours? I mean, a lot of people do.
It just worked out time-wise. I mean, it's easier to go, if you go to Europe, it's easier to start from Japan and sort of go in one direction than to like sort of hop all over the place and change time zones and stuff.
I mean, was it your idea to be the first act to ever play this place out in Chiba?
I would prefer to be indoors, really, because I knew this was going to happen. Last time I came to Japan, the exact same thing happened, only we didn't do the show. And I was not going to go through the same thing again. I was so depressed.
Are you the person who's in charge, or is it a total equal collaboration? I understand. I learned today that you play like guitar and keyboards, and I never knew that.
An equal collaboration? I suppose in the beginning it is, but in the end, I say what goes and what doesn't go.
That's true.
It's me out there, you know, not Steve and Pat. And they understand that.
But I mean, did you trade ideas back and forth? Do you come up with melody lines, or is it mostly lyrics, or?
Lyrics and melody lines.
And to get inspired for all this, are you forced to go out to dance clubs a lot?
No.
Or do you go out to dance clubs a lot?
I do, but I'm not forced to.
I was just trying to be wry.
Rye or pumpernickel.
Yes, it's true. Do you feel, since you do go out to dance clubs occasionally, do you see stuff that might be the next voguing? And you see new stuff coming up? You're on top of this, right? You can tell us.
Well, quite frankly, I haven't been out in a couple of months because I've been working on the show. I don't know what's after voguing, but I'll let you know when I find out.
Did you have any difficulty convincing Gautier to come up with unusual designs for the clothes in this show? Or was
No, he's very creative. And we collaborated on anything. I mean, I actually sent him drawings originally about what I wanted, which were the first... I mean, a lot of the costumes were, like, inspired by my stick drawings. And then he kind of elaborated and threw his stuff in.
Your stick drawings?
Yeah, I'm not a good artist.
I thought art may have run in the family.
No, unfortunately, and all my brothers and sisters are good that way, except me. This is my compensation.
Last April, the talk inevitably turned to questions of love and marriage, her failed marriage to actor Sean Penn in particular. These thoughts were suggested by a song on her Like a Prayer album called Till Death Do Us Part, and here's what Madonna had to say about it. I wanted to ask you about Till Death Do Us Part, too. I mean, do you still believe that love is a possibility? I mean, you're not soured on the whole concept? Well, okay, this must like, I'm sorry, but I mean, you think of it differently now than you did?
Well, that was a point of view in the film. I mean, that you just keep going back for more. No. I was just sort of describing a situation, not condoning it.
But I mean, you don't feel soured by an experience that millions of people go through all the time?
No, absolutely not.
Have you found love again?
Have I found love again? Yes, many times.
Since then?
Many times since then.
Really? Gee whiz. God, what an enterprising woman. Okay.
That's what they say.
You had said once when you were doing Speed the Plow, you were dandling some babe on your knee, I think, a child, and say, well, this is my next project. I don't know if you remember this or not, like the Madonna baby.
I was in a capricious mood.
Oh, okay. So we shouldn't take that.
Well, my next project was not that.
No, it turned out to be a movie and an album. But I just wondered if you were still, I mean, you want to have kids at some point? Or...
Yeah.
Now, my next question is,
please don't ask me to do.
This is because Warren Beatty did this interview with Barbara Wall. It was a really terrible interview, but he did this interview, and he said he wants to have kids too. And I just, well, naturally the question would arise, would you be having them together, perhaps?
Well, I just really can't comment on that.
I felt I had to try. I don't know. Is there a different sort of persona in the songs for Dick Tracy and the film also? I mean, is it a new Madonna thing?
Well, it's inspired by the movie, so it's kind of in character. A Stephen Sondheim song, and then the other two I wrote, trying to keep in the period vein with a sort of modern feel to it. So, but there's, I don't know, 12 songs on the soundtrack.
Is that what the album I'm Breathless is going to be, like all stuff of Dick Tracy, or will it be?
Well, some of the songs are in the movie, the rest are just inspired by the movie itself, the period aspect, the cartoon aspect, the gangsters, the characters, and who I was in the movie.
Yeah. Why Stephen Sondheim? He's like a great songwriter. Are you a long time fan? Did you know him?
I know him now. I knew who he was before I did the movie, but I was introduced to him and worked with him, and I really respect him.
What attracted you to this? Were you a Dick Tracy?
No.
I don't think it was you.
What attracted me to it?
Yeah.
A good part in a good movie. I mean, a chance to work with a lot of great talent.
Yeah. Does it resemble, any blondes you've done previously?
No.
Like Who's That Girl?
No. This movie looks like nothing anyone's ever seen.
In what way? Can you preview it for us?
No. It just looks incredible.
Come on.
It's like a 3D cartoon, but it's real. You can sink your teeth into it.
That does sound good. We'll go see it.
Plug.
Okay.
And now I have to eat my breakfast.
So why have you decided to release such a risque video now?
Because it's a particularly moralistic time in America. It didn't make me sit back and say, oh, I better not do this now. People aren't going to be very accepting of it. Actually, a lot of the things that I deal with in my music and in the book is in particular with the repression that's going on in America right now. So I think that the timing's very good.
So to what extent do you think that a video like this promotes tolerance to sexual diversity?
To what extent? I really don't know. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of really narrow-minded people, so if I can change the way that 1/100th of them thinks, then I've accomplished something, and I really can't predict how far-reaching that would be. How many people I would change and how much tolerance would grow out of the messages that I've put forth in the music.
Do you notice any differences between the way that America reacts to some of the things you do and to the way that Europe reacts? Because in my opinion, I feel that we're much more tolerant as a society.
In England or in Europe?
In Europe. I think particularly Europe is more...
Europe, absolutely more tolerant. In fact, I feel like in Europe, people actually deal with the actual music and the artistic value of things, whereas in America, they're just so obsessed with scandal and
so uptight about so many things that they can't get past their own hang-ups to actually to have a discussion about, you know, the music or the movie or the book or whatever it is that people do.
So do you feel that, in a sense, that your sexual mores are more European in value than American?
Yeah, I guess I'd have to say that.
Okay. Much of your work involves the display of your own body, so would you agree with Camille Paglia, who asserts that female beauty is a potent form of power?
Absolutely.
So in what way are you using your power?
You mean I have to tell you? How am I using my power? By doing what I do.
But she says, she asserts that the power of the female beauty is used today in a much more socio-political way, and that you are at the forefront.
Well, it depends on what you do. I mean, you could be a beautiful girl and just sit around the house filing your nails all day, or you could be a beautiful girl who's out there saying something, taking risks, and trying to change people's way of thinking, which is what I think I am. But I have to preface all of that by saying that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. There are plenty of people who don't think I'm beautiful, so in that case, Camille's ideas are out the window. So.
Do you believe that you've changed the sort of sexual mores of society, particularly in America?
I've had an effect in changing them. Lots of other people have too, but...
Is that more of a personal effect in terms of closer relationships, or in a wider term?
Wider. Just overall general acceptance of other people's differences, sexual preferences, whatever.
The video is seen on MTV around the world, and because it's a video, it will be seen as being glamorous. So to what extent do you feel that you're glamorizing sex without giving a safe sex message?
Well, once again, I'm not really sure what you mean by glamour. I think there's going to be a lot of people who see the video and don't think it's glamorous at all. They think they're going to think it's repulsive or disgusting or something. I don't know. If someone puts a harness on me and is riding me around like I'm a farm animal, I don't consider that unsafe sex. So if I'm sharing a lollipop with someone, I don't consider that unsafe sex. But as far as my work goes, I have said so many things about practicing safe sex that I just think that it's a given, that people know that that's something that I believe in. So, and one more thing, it's a fantasy. The whole video is a fantasy. My book is a fantasy, and so I'm not actually saying this is what you should go out and do. I'm presenting a fantasy, not something that actually happened in reality. Or so it's something that you can actually, if you watch the video and you get off on it or you find it exciting, whatever, that is absolutely the safest form of sex for everyone. So.
Are they? Is the book or the video actually your sexual fantasies, or is it like general sexual fantasies you feel?
Well, I think it's a combination of many things. I think if anybody writes anything, whatever, any writer, there's something of that writer in their work, even if it's fiction. So there are some of my ideas in it, there are other people's ideas in it, and I think it would be impossible to find the line, of where's fact and where's fiction. I think it's an absolute combination of it all.
How did you get people to appear in the photos?
Well, most of the people that are in the book were friends of mine or Stephen Meisel, photographer.
There's humour in the video, which is what I like, and also one of the shots, which is from the book, I found very humorous, which was you hitchhiking. I think it was on Miami Beach. What did the motorists do when they sailed past you?
I think they all thought they were having a hallucination or something. Most of them just slowed down a little bit, looked at me, did a double take, and just kept on driving. I really don't think they thought they were seeing correctly. They all probably went to the eye doctor the next day. I don't know.
What about yourself? What was going through your mind when you're standing there?
I was laughing my head off. I couldn't stop laughing. I don't know, it was very liberating. I was giggling the whole time because I felt like I was doing the ultimate taboo. You know, you're not allowed to be in public without your clothes on. Only children are allowed to be in public without their clothes on, and it was very freeing in a way. I felt like a child again, because running in the streets naked.
But with a handbag?
Well, of course, shoes and a handbag. A girl can't go anywhere without her handbag. Her pocketbook.
What I'd like to know is that, were there any, when you sat down and sort of decided which fantasies you were going to pursue in terms of the shots,
right.
Were there any that
you mean in the book?
In the book, yeah. Were there any that you came up with in your mind and thought, I will never be able to publish this?
No. I did everything I wanted to do. Absolutely.
So the publisher didn't come to you, lay down any laws saying, well, I'll print the book.
In the very beginning, when we all made the agreement to do the book, Warner Books, you know, they gave me their rules. They said, we don't want you to do this picture, that picture. You know, we don't want you showing pictures depicting sex with children. We don't want you showing pictures depicting sex with animals, and no desecration of religious objects. But none of those things happened to be my sexual fantasies, so that wasn't a problem for me. So it ended up not, I didn't have to censor anything.
So what for you is the primary importance? Is it music?
The most important thing is that I say the things I want to say in my music, or whatever expression that may be, whether that's writing a book or writing songs or acting or whatever. The most important thing is that I feel fulfilled as an artist, and ultimately what the world gets out of it and what they choose to see, I can't control it or predict it. And of course I always hope that they will see that and get past, you know, what they consider the scandal or the imaging or but that's something the media's created.
I know.
Is this guy amazing? Like,
Yes, I am a tramp. And I'm proud of it.
You look great.
Thank you.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you
Thank you
again.
very much for being here. You know, I was just looking at some stuff over here. Tell me about this. This is just stunning. And before we show the picture, will you honestly tell me if this represents the way your life is, or is this just something you did for the magazine? Because if this really is the way your life is, congratulations.
Really?
Nice going.
Do you mean that?
Well, look at how appealing this is. First of all, it couldn't be a lovelier scene.
There's only one thing that's not true about it.
What's that?
I never feed the chickens in high heels.
Oh, well, you know, that was my favorite part.
Because the heels sink into the grass.
But this is your home?
That is, well, it's one of my homes.
Oh,
not
my.
bragging or anything.
Yeah. And where is this located?
It's in the countryside of England.
It's just beautiful there. And this house is like 300 years old, something like that?
Yeah, it was built in 16-something.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And
But we live in the laundry house. That's the laundry house.
this is the laundry house we're looking at here?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, I'm very, I'm a simple girl from the Midwest.
Uh-huh. So now, wait a minute. So there is a larger house, too, on the property?
No, it was taken down by the grandson of the man who originally built it, because I think he fell on hard times. You understand that feeling.
Oh, do I ever.
I think we can both share that.
But now the chickens, was
No,
it?
wait, I didn't finish the story. He fell on hard times, and so he took the house apart and sold the bricks.
Oh.
It's kind of tragic.
And then you came in and were able to secure the laundry house.
Yes.
How long have you lived in the laundry house?
Managed to figure out how to use the washing machine.
Well, that's all right.
What would you say?
I don't
Laundry
know.
house? I don't know.
But the chickens now, are those actually your chickens?
Yes, we have 21 chickens.
Well, what do they lay eggs?
They do.
Yeah.
Yep, sometimes they lay chickens. I didn't mean to say that.
How are
I've turned over a new leaf.
No, you're fine. Relax. How are the kids? They're like 8 and 5, something like that? 9
and 5.
9
yeah.
and 5.
Yeah.
A boy and a girl?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
How are your kid?
My kid is fine. Soon he's going to be 2 years old in about a week. Yeah.
Have you bonded with him yet?
Well, yeah. What do you mean have I bonded with him yet? No, no, I hardly ever see him.
Yep.
No, of course we're very close.
What do you do together?
Well, we go to the park and stuff.
Really? He's not in diapers anymore, right? He's 2.
He is in diapers, yeah. We're trying to talk him out of diapers.
That means you're not a very attentive parent.
Well, see,
After 2, they have to be out of diapers.
Well, that's kind of how I feel about it. I would say I've done all I can do.
Well, you know, there's a technique that they use.
Yeah, I know. Here's what I do.
Just don't put the diaper on them.
Don't put the diaper on them.
And let them live with their mistakes.
And they will clean up after themselves?
My parenting... Well, they will be so disgusted with the fact that they've, you know, that they don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
No, my parenting skills have come under a lot of scrutiny lately. So.
You're a very strict parent, aren't you?
That's what people say.
And give us an example of things that people suggest might be strict about your rearing of the kids.
Well, that I don't let them watch television.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't think
television is crap.
It is. Well, there are obviously exceptions to that, but my kids are usually asleep by the time your show comes on.
Oh, God bless you. That's very nice of you to say.
Flattery will get me everywhere.
Now, listen,
Wait a minute, I have to ask you a question.
Go right ahead.
Isn't my necklace on straight?
Whoa, now it is. There we go.
I like the bass pulsing.
Yeah.
Nice touch.
That's fun. Now, what do you think about the video games? Kids playing video games?
That hasn't entered into my lexicon yet.
And are you worried about when it might come in?
Well, they only play video games when you buy them for them.
That's right. But as they grow older, I guess the concern is one, the addiction to just stare at an electronic screen like that, and 2, maybe violence. Now, do you think that has an effect on children?
I think it does, but I think boys are naturally violent before you expose them to anything.
Really?
And I think that's just your nature. Yeah.
But I think it's better that the kids live a life like feeding chickens than playing video games, don't you think?
Yeah, but we don't live all the time in the countryside.
Yeah,
So-
of course. But it's nice to expose them to that part of existence.
Nature.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nature, but nature's violent. I mean, you see these incredible birds come swooping down through the sky and attack, like rabbits and chickens. You know, we've lost a few chickens to some falcons.
That's right. They're raptors.
Yeah, so nature can be... Nature is very violent, and as you know, I got thrown from a horse.
Well, yeah, that was ugly, too. You actually broke bones, didn't you?
I actually broke bones. I heard you fell.
I did not fall. I was thrown. I was launched. I was launched. There's a difference. Were you thrown or did you fall?
I want to commiserate with you then.
It's very unpleasant because for a couple of seconds you have no idea where you are.
This is true, and actually that was quite pleasant for me because usually...
Well, now that you mention it, it wasn't bad for me either.
No, you know what? I mean, because you can look back at these things and have a laugh, right? But the one thing I really enjoyed about falling off a horse was the fainting part. Because when you faint and then you wake up, it's like, it's such a drag when you wake up. You know what I mean? And you think, let me just get back to that feeling I had when I fainted, when everything was beautiful.
Maybe you need to talk to someone. Your necklace fell out. Thank you.
I like the asymmetry of it.
Yes, it keeps going to magnetic south. Yesterday in the newspaper they had this headline about teenagers. They had a poll and most teenagers didn't think that oral sex was sex. And in my office this triggered an enormous day-long debate. Who's right on this?
Just thinking about sex is sex.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are what you think.
Yeah, but see, here was the thing. People said, no, oral sex is not oral sex.
Well, that's what Bill Clinton said.
And I would say, well, what is oral sex? And they would say, just fooling around.
Oh.
Well, I mean, isn't that the category under which all activity takes place, for God's sakes?
It's all fooling around.
We were just fooling around.
Yeah,
Look out.
sure.
Hello. So what else is going on? You know, tell us about this horse thing. What were you doing when you got tossed?
I was thinking about what I wanted to have for lunch.
Minding your own business.
No, well, it wasn't my horse. I stupidly got on a horse that wasn't mine. And that's a very big lesson.
And how much experience had you had on a horse riding?
I've been riding for about 8 months. Not very long.
Kind of a beginner then, aren't you?
No, I don't think of myself as a beginner. Whenever I do something, I usually excel at it.
I've been riding a horse for about 4 or 5 years, and I still think of myself as a beginner.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you have a different personality than I do.
Well, I feel like, and thank God for it. But I feel like every time I get on a horse, I learn something new. And usually if the mistake is made, the horse makes very few mistakes. It's usually me who makes the mistakes.
Did you piss your horse off?
Yeah, well, he didn't like the way. You know, I think in retrospect, I should probably not have been carrying the gun.
Gun. Do you, when you ride a horse, do you wear riding gear, like proper riding attire? Because I think it's very sexy.
I wear what I have on now.
No. You crack yourself up.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. Now, have you been?
But I mean, I love like men in riding breeches and those nice tall boots.
No, I don't wear that.
You don't wear that?
No.
This nicely fitted coat.
No.
The
You
riding crop.
No, I'll tell you what I look like. You remember Dale Evans?
Isn't he the sausage guy?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He was the sausage guy. But now, have you been on a horse since you got tossed?
No, because my record company is not very keen on the idea of me injuring myself.
Well, I understand that. And how do you feel about it?
Well, I have a bit of excitement tainted with fear.
Some trepidation.
Yes.
Well, maybe you notice this. We have horses outside, and that little tiny one is yours.
I don't want a tiny one. I want the big one.
So, okay.
I want the prettiest one, and I want the best horse.
And the one on the left is
little
mine is Widowmaker. That's the horse I'll be on. And I don't know. Would you like to try and get back on the horse? That's what you got to do, you know, when you get tossed.
But I'm wearing high heels.
Well, so am I. Let's see if we can.
Oh, Dave, you did that so beautifully.
Oh. All right, let's go. You ready to go? Go ahead.
You ready?
Yeah, be careful.
No cantering,
First
okay?
one to the river. 2 hands. Here we are. How about this? Easy,
This is crazy.
You feel all right?
I feel all right, yeah.
It's like the parade.
I'm a bit worried about my high heels, but...
Lovely. There we go. Here we go. Just a little. Easy. Ho.
Whoa,
My
horse.
God.
Whoa, horse.
Got a
Your horse is freaking my horse out.
All right, let me see if I can get over here. Come on, buddy. Come on, over here a little bit.
Is yours a girl? No, yours is a boy.
This is very nice, don't you think? Lovely evening for a ride. This is not bad.
Let's add this to my list of reckless things I've done with you.
How do you do? Thank you.
Anything
Folks,
for publicity.
thank you. Good. How are you?